We are now joined by Charles Whatley, who is the Managing Director of UrbanIS. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you have a really unique perspective because in a previous life, you were the Director of Economic Development for Dekalb County.
Correct.
You are now in the private sector.
Yes.
Talk to people about the difference in funding and how important it is for them to know both sides to get the public funding.
Absolutely. Most economic development organizations and planning organizations at the municipal level want to attract new investment. And that investment has some pretty significant requirements in terms of return on investment, but certainty and filling the gap is often the critical component. And so finding money for brownfield remediation is often about gap funding. It's not about funding the entire project. It's usually 5, 10, or 15% of project costs need to be supplemented in some way. And so with the brownfield programs from EPA and from HUD and DOT, there's a possibility to fill that gap so you can make a project work and the economics of it will be strong.
Now, in regards to Brownfields redevelopment, it's key economically for creating jobs and creating more economic opportunities in the area. Talk to us about the importance of that first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have a brownfield, often it impacts other properties in the area. People don't find the area attractive, sometimes it attracts crime, and so a brownfield remediation effort actually can be catalytic for an entire community. And so these are not just about transactions, but more about transformation. And so when you look around Metro Atlanta and you look at Atlantic Station, Aerotropolis, and the GM plant as a future project, you see where you've had a brownfield that really discouraged other investment. And now, in the case of Atlantic Station, you have well over $1 billion in new investment, and it's only 40% complete. Aerotropolis will be the new headquarters for Porsche North America. And the GM plant will be a significant mixed-use development that will probably attract more than $1 billion in private investment. But to get over that, the hurdle is how you pay for that brownfield cleanup and make that property ready for development.
And on the heels of that, that leads into my next question. Do you feel like that point ever gets missed in the public debate of environmental protection?
Yeah, I think sometimes. I think the practitioners at the conference understand fully how valuable that is. And for communities that have actually gone through a brownfield transformation, they get it and they become our best evangelists on this. They can tell everyone, look, this made a difference for a whole segment of the city, or in some cases, the entire city or the downtown. Right. It's an opportunity to repurpose property because most urban markets don't have a lot of extra land. And even in the rural areas, it's still a blight in some ways or an impediment to further growth.
And you just touched on this a little bit. What are some of the projects that you're working on regionally for brownfields?
Yeah, we're working closely with developers who are looking at a redevelopment of the GM plant in Doraville. That plant represents 160 acres of the city of Doraville. The city is actively involved in figuring out how to fill that gap. And the developers know that they'll have to handle some remediation, but it ultimately could be over $1 billion in new investment, and that's significant. And then we helped another nonprofit, so scale is important. A nonprofit actually clean up underground storage tanks that abut one of the creeks in Dekalb County. And that project now will help facilitate new green space and so forth. So we're really excited. And there's some other significant projects that are going on around the metro area that will have brownfield components that will need to be cleaned up.
And is there one specific project that you're really excited about the opportunity?
Yeah, I think the GM plant, just because it's transformative. Close to 50 years ago when GM built their plant, they essentially took the downtown of the city of Doraville. And now it'll be a chance for Doraville to sort of reclaim a town center and to really create something special that'll give that town recapture its original character.
And what do you see as emerging trends for brownfields in other regions?
Yeah, well, I think that one thing is that the cities and the development community will embrace tackling the brownfields. So they'll no longer be a point of fear or concern. They realize that these are really diamonds in the rough that oftentimes the costs are not as as expensive as they think they will be, but the upside is tremendous, not just for the project itself, but for the surrounding properties. And so I think we'll see cities building their toolkit so that they can provide that gap funding to really attract new investment and to create new value in their tax base.
All right, Charles Whatley, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.